Podcast 137, the Stoned Roadie Show. Action. All righty then. Looky here, looky here. I see y'all out there, and thank you for showing up today on this edition of the Saturday night special on the Stoned Roadie Show. I'm your host, Craig Reed, and this is my co-host, the lovely Kathy GODSEY. So take it away, Kathy GODSEY.
Hi, everyone, and looky here who we have here. We have a special guest tonight, Mr. Mikey LOCKOUT from Long Island. Welcome to podcast 137 of the Stone Roadie Show, the Saturday night special with Craig and Kathy. We're so happy to have you back, Mikey. And I know that we're going to be talking about you reached out to me and said that you like to come back on the podcast. Last time you were on 69, we had a great time, and a lot of people asked you to come back, so welcome back. Thank you. There he is. There's little Leon. What a cutie pie.
Great. Thank you very much.
Sure. And I just I love to talk about the accents. So last time we had Yogi Cole on, and we were talking about the 3 different accents, and you'll notice Mickey has a real Long Island accent, which is not the same as the New Jersey accent.
I'm proud to be a Long Island guy.
I know. That's right.
Billy Joel, the Stray Cats.
That's right.
Long Island's got some respectable talent come out of it, but
absolutely.
I'm sure it's raining as hard here as it is in New Jersey right now.
It is miserable. Miserable in New Jersey. Yeah, it's pretty crappy. But anyway, I'm so glad to be back here doing this show. Before we start talking about the the content tonight, I do want to do a couple of shout outs. I always do those, and a couple of new people that have written to me, and they're so sweet, new friends on Facebook. I do want to mention them. There's a Tina Oresco from Reno, Nevada. Really nice. Paula O'Sullivan, really nice. She reached out to me. And then Connie Beck from Clark's Summit, Pennsylvania. And I do want to say hi to Cousin Figel. We love Cousin Figel, and we know that he's has a health issue that he's dealing with right now. Cousin Figel, Mr. Kazoo, and he sent the dream catchers. Cousin Figel, I will acknowledge it as soon as I receive it. Craig hasn't sent it to me yet, but I know he's going to. And I think he's going to send me a kazoo because he has a whole bunch of them. So I will gladly appreciate that.
Yeah, and all you people out there wondering when you're going to get your sticker. Yeah, I'm kind of delinquent in my duties here lately so I'll be sending them out here shortly. Yeah.
Yeah, Craig has a lot of stuff to mail out. Craig, has anybody sent you any rocks lately? Because last year we were talking
Actually,
about
I
rocks.
have. Yeah. Actually, I did get some little ones that are really peculiar too. I'm just gonna take them to the wherever you take weird things and have them analyzed and see what they are. Because he found them and he didn't know what they were. They're like square. They're really small and they're like square. They're really weird. Yeah, I want to take them. I lived near Akron University, so I'm going to take them down there to the geology department, have them analyze them.
Who sent them to you?
Can't remember now.
Okay.
I have them over there somewhere.
But they didn't come in an envelope. You remember you said last year somebody sent you some some rocks in an envelope?
Oh yeah. And,
you got
yeah. And they went. All I had was a hole in the envelope with it. No, actually they did, but yeah, they're real small. They sent me other stuff with it, but yeah, they were. It's weird. I think I showed them. I don't know. I'll have to.
You did actually.
We didn't rehearse this, so I wasn't prepared to show those. Totally unrehearsed today. Trust me.
That's the best part of it. That's the best part of it. But anyway, Mikey Lockout is here all the way from Long Island, New York, and we're so glad to have you. And one of the things that Mikey wanted to talk about today was the Saturday Night Special Band. And you know, I've heard of it, but I didn't really know too much about it. I ran it by Craig, and he really didn't know too much about it either.
No, didn't
But
know
you were,
nothing about it. And I
yeah.
called Griff, and well, Griff called me, and yeah, I'm gonna run the Oliver Anthony tomorrow for this Sunday morning acoustic. I'm gonna run the Oliver Anthony, what he filmed on the road with Griff Martin, Sunday morning. So yeah, yeah, I got that. But what was the question?
No, about what you knew about the Saturday Night Special Band.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oliver.
yeah. And I told Griff, I said, yeah, we're gonna do that today, and we're gonna talk about the Saturday Night Special Band. And he goes, who are they? Because that was Ed King's band with Artemis and then Leslie and JoJo. And he goes, I don't know anything about him. I said, well, don't feel bad. I only heard, bits and pieces about him. But yeah, we're glad to have Mikey on and tell us all about it, because sure it's some skin information y'all want to know, and you'll hear it right here on the STONED Roadie Show.
With the world's most famous STONED Roadie. No one has ever challenged that title, right?
Co-host, the lovely Kathy.
So Mikey, welcome to the STONED Roadie Saturday Night Special. So tell us, go for it. Tell us how it came about. And somebody asked me, how are you associated with the Saturday Night Special Band? What was your role? So you have the floor. Just tell us all about it.
Good to see you guys again. Thank you for having me back. I think what could be better on a Saturday night special but to talk about Saturday Night Special, which a band that grew out of Long Island, actually. Was put together by a gentleman named Mark Basile. He was a guitar player, and he assembled a group of musicians that were playing in Skynyrd tribute together. So the whole connection of all the different people around the New York, New Jersey area that were proficient at playing Skynyrd covered music. And eventually they hired Artemis Pyle. Then they hired me to work for Artemis Pyle. But shortly after I got hooked up with the situation, which was right pretty much from the beginning when they first started in 2004, I'd say, they picked up and added Ed King to the roster. So we went from being sort of like a bunch of guys in a tribute band who had Artemis Pyle in the band to, well, now we have this band and you have two members of the original Skynyrd band in the same band. So they'd gone out and played and done some shows, and not really at the time when I guess Artemis and what he was doing was on the radar. It was right before the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. So it kind of got going sort of quietly. Ed joined the band, and then I actually was sitting around with Artemis on the tour bus. We did some shows up north. We did Bike Week in Laconia, New Hampshire, and we were sitting on the bus in between shows and saying like, wow, this is pretty crazy that, we got this band and now we're going to have kind of just as many original Lynyrd Skynyrd members in our band as Lynyrd Skynyrd has in Lynyrd Skynyrd. So I said to Artemis, I go, wouldn't it be great if we could get the girls to sing? That would really, give the band something to shout about. You add the two original girls. Like, what happened to the girls? You never saw the girls in 1987. They weren't invited to participate in the tribute tour or any of the tours after that. And the Forgotten Survivors is proof of basically what happened to Leslie and JoJo. They kind of got left behind. They weren't part of the plans for the new band with the new management for whatever reason. And I said to Artemis, I go, we should get these girls to come out and sing with us. I mean, this band sounds incredible. And he goes, wow, that would be something else. If you could do that, that would be cool. So I actually searched around for a while in the early stages of social networking on the internet, when there was only message boards and MySpace and old school stuff like that, computer wise, and found a gentleman who lived in England somewhere, and I don't even remember the guy's name, but he reached out to me and said, I can get in touch with JoJo if you want me to. So I said, well, yeah, please tell her I'm part of this band, and Ed King's in the band, and Artemis Pyle's in the band, and we're trying to get the Honkettes to come and sing with us. So he said, all right, well, this is what I'll do. JoJo's a really good friend of mine. I've known her for a long time, and I respect her privacy, and I'm sure you do too. So I'm going to ask her if it's okay if I pass her number along to you. So I said, cool, that'd be great. And I didn't really think much of it. You know, you sent an email back then. It was like, it didn't really even seem real. It still doesn't seem real to me that you send an email to someone and they get it. It's like, what is that? You know, but sure enough, I received JoJo Billingsley's phone number from this gentleman in England. And then I was faced with the task of saying, holy shit,
Yeah.
call one of the girls who was actually part of the Skynyrd band and part of the Skynyrd legacy, and call her and ask her if she wants to come and play with this band, and who knows what she's doing or what she's up to. But heck if I'm not going to do it. And I called her up and left a message on her phone. And a couple days later, I got a message on my phone with the little tiny tapes like these. Well, on this tape is the message of JoJo returning my phone call.
Is there any way for you to play that for us?
I guess I would have to have like maybe if I had like a little one of those portable recorders, because it's like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, to a cigarette lighter, it's like a tiny,
yeah.
tiny little
We would
thing.
love to hear that.
Oh my God, I would love to hear it too, but I remember it kind of well because she said, I heard you looking for me, so here I am.
Oh
And she
boy.
didn't say who she was. So she said, this is my number, you know, I'd love to chat with you. So right from the get-go, I clicked with JoJo, and she was really super easy to talk to. She was open and super sweet and pretty damn honest about, you know, what her situation was and why she wasn't on the plane crash, and basically everything I ever talked to her about, she was honest and forthright. But without getting off on a tangent, she wound up agreeing to come out and do some shows with us. So I'm pretty sure that Joe came out and did a few shows with us, and then somehow or another, someone got in touch with Leslie, and then Leslie joined the crew. And we did some shows with Leslie and got to know Leslie a little bit. She's quiet. I think Leslie lives by the rule that if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Because she's a private person, is the impression that I got from her right from the beginning, is that she wasn't really, I don't know, I think I might have told Kathy this, but I always had kind of got the feeling that I never did quite understand why Leslie came out and agreed to do the shows, but the shows were great and everybody got along great. The fans were in awe that, you know, all these people were playing these shows for them. And it's important for, I guess, people who watch this podcast, which are probably the most hardcore Skynyrd fans, that you go online and check out the Saturday Night Special band. There's videos out there. I think probably at least pieces of 2 or 3 shows are out there. A guy who's a good friend of mine, Chris Rucker, did a bunch of filming because I believe at the time he was trying to put together some sort of a documentary about Artemis. And he was kind of following us around and working with us with all these gigs, filming shows and stuff like that. And then Bob came out and we did a show in Statesville, Georgia in 2005, I'm going to say, right before the induction into the Hall of Fame. And that was awesome to have Bob and Artemis and to, you know, meet Bob for the first time and meet Bob's family and get to know Bob a little bit. That was cool. And I think later on, Artemis continued to work with Bob since the time of Saturday Night Special. So that was really cool that came out of Saturday Night Special. But another thing that came out of it was the fact that the girls wound up in town because Artemis and another band that he was playing with, a band that he played with actually after Saturday Night Special, they did a show on the Intrepid the night before the Rock Hall of Fame induction, and JoJo and Leslie were both on that show. So somehow or another, Artemis arranged for JoJo and Leslie to both get tickets so that they could get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony, because I think this is, most people know that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is really a strange organization. They do weird shit. They do things that aren't cool, and everybody from Steve Miller to Bob Weir and Jerry Garcia and tons of other people have complained about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's methodology, but the girls were not inducted in with Skynyrd because they were legally a separate entity. I think that's was the Hall's stipulation there. Craig might know more about that than I do, but that's the way I understood it, that the girls were sort of like their own corporation. Like the Honkettes were like separate from Skynyrd. They were part of Skynyrd, but I think legally their insurance policies were separate and things of that nature. That's
What do you know about that, Craig? Do you agree with that?
I mean,
I don't know any, really, I don't know any of the technicalities at all behind that, but
Okay.
yeah, they should have been inducted with the band, and so should Ricky have too, in my opinion. But yeah, I think the Honkettes should have been in there because they were part of the band. I didn't.
and they weren't. So since we were all in New York City at the time, Leslie, JoJo, Bob, Artemis, Ed, basically Artemis, I could be wrong about this. I hate to even say this out loud, but I can't really leave this big piece out of the story. I don't know exactly how it happened, but the way I understood it is that Artemis got Gary to agree to let the girls perform for the 2 songs, Freebird and Sweet Home, respectively, that the girls could sing. So the people in Skynyrd, the real Skynyrd, or the Skynyrd band of 06, whoever was in charge of their production and stuff like that, I'm sure that Judy and Gary had a say in it, but thank God, whoever did it, I'm thankful to them that they did it, because the girls got to come up and sing. And when the show is taped and released forever on DVDs and CDs and things like that. You guys can go back, and your listeners can go back and maybe not have noticed before that it's the first time you'll see the real girls singing with all of the surviving members. And that to me is really important and really cool, that that the Skynyrd camp was cool about it, that by some act of God I was put into the equation and found JoJo, which I guess sort of made it easier for the band to convince Leslie to come along, because now it was like a real piece of Skynyrd history in the making, with Ed King playing guitar and even some bass actually at some of the shows, JoJo and Leslie, and then Artemis, and then Bob for a few shows to come and show up and guest on some stuff. I mean, at the time, right before the induction, it was absolutely like amazing to think like, wow, this band's actually together and we're actually doing gigs and playing shows. And around that time, right before the band got inducted, Artemis recorded a solo album, which looks like that. For all of you hardcore Skynyrd people, if you don't know this record, it's important. You should know it. Entire record is about Lynyrd Skynyrd and Artemis Pyle's emotions about Skynyrd at the time, and some of his feelings at the time. And I believe that it contains the last, well, I'm almost positive to say that it's the last recording that has JoJo and Leslie on the same track. And I might even stretch it out and say it's the last thing that JoJo or Leslie ever put on a record or on a recording, with the exception of this record, which I don't know if the light will let us see it, but
yeah, we can see it.
In 2007, this album came out. JoJo released this album. It's it's mostly spirituals and Christian songs and church type stuff. But that, I think, was the last thing that JoJo ever got to record. So I know that it really meant a lot to both the girls to be out and kind of getting a little bit of joy from their association with the band, when, especially in Leslie's case, that there was probably some ill feelings there about, the way they were forgotten, and how, nobody thought to try and help these people with their medical bills and things like that, until, thank God, the Stone Roadie show did something about that all these years later. But I mean, I think it was healing for Leslie and Joe, both for different reasons on different levels, because both Leslie and Joe were really spiritual women and really deep thinkers and intelligent people. And Joe was very religious. She became a pastor. She had a church that she was leading down in Coleman, Alabama, I believe, at the time. And she was very strong in her faith, and she tried to help everybody that she talked to and everybody that she met through, using her faith to reach out to people and to connect with people. And especially coming from a place where, I was in the craziest rock and roll band in the world, and now I'm a pastor. And I think Craig could probably tell you how exciting it was to work with JoJo Billingsley in the latter part of the 70s. JoJo was a very energetic person, from what I understand.
Yeah, JoJo is a character. Me and JoJo are really good friends. Yeah, she was.
Yeah. She was definitely a character. She had a big personality.
She was like one of the guys almost.
But she was cool, man.
Oh
And
yeah,
even,
she was. She was real cool. All the
Yeah,
Honkettes were real cool in their own respect, you know.
yeah. I mean,
They all had totally different personalities, but all of them are really, really cool.
well, you had
So,
character.
Mikey, I'd like to know. So, you said that Mark Basile, he was a
Yeah,
guitarist from New York.
yeah.
So, how did he reach out to Ed King and Artemis and Bob, and how did he
Uh,
get them to become interested in, this Saturday Night Special band? I mean, weren't they all doing their own things? And how did he even know all these people that he
well,
was
he
able to reach
knew.
them?
Well, he knew all the guys who weren't part of Skinhead through his own playing. Basically, he was a guitar player, and he himself, he's also a lawyer as well. But
Oh,
he's a guitar player, and he was part of the genesis of people that were around this area playing Skynyrd music in bars and clubs and stuff. And how he got Artemis and how that whole thing came about, that was before I was part of it. So I don't recall really hearing about it, but I got contacted by Mark when he finally sort of had inked a deal with Artemis to do a pretty good amount of shows, that he
okay.
was thinking that, I want to hire a guy who can, take care of my star player, make
Yeah,
sure that he has everything before, during, and after performances, So
yeah, yeah.
we I started at that point, but how they got Ed involved in it, like I said, when we were talking earlier, was really shocked that they got Ed to do it, but Ed coming into the band was huge. I mean,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
his
definitely.
recognition as the guy who wrote Sweet Home Alabama, I mean, having Ed King come into the band was amazing. And it was amazing to get to know Ed too, because
Hmm.
Ed was a character among characters, and in a really good way. He loved movies. He loved, like, uh, I mean, his postings on Facebook, I think for a while, were kind of legendary, that Ed had a bunch of people that followed him on Facebook because he had a really good outlook on life for a guy who had had a heart transplant, who was even up to the point where he was sick and kind of, it didn't really look good for Ed. You know, Ed had a great attitude. He was a fun guy to be around. And even though it surprised me that he had come to join the band, that it worked out great. Like, we
Yeah.
all really had a good time. And like I said, if your listeners go out there and Google some of that stuff, I mean, I'll show you a picture right here. But
Because just the Saturday Night Special band, just the title sounds like a Leonard Skinner cover band. I didn't know anything. I mean,
exactly what it was.
there probably is another, yeah, but you have
Yeah,
original
there's
members of
probably
Leonard Skinner
100 bands with the same
with
name.
the same name. That's why, I
Yeah,
mean, I didn't know anything about this band. And then the fact that you
but
got two of the girls in there, I mean, that's amazing.
I mean,
And you were
but just
telling
so you
me,
know,
you were just saying how you were able to reach out to somebody, to reach out to Leslie. That's like my
but,
theory of six
yeah,
degrees of separation. You can reach anybody through,
yeah,
through
sure.
contact, but I'm just blown away that you were able to, that this band had Ed and Artemis and then two of the girls. And you had said that Leslie was kind of, she had a lot of injuries and she was kind of private. I'm even surprised that she went along with it. This is just really,
Guys,
really
Leslie
interesting.
and Joe both performed beyond
Wow.
my expectations. It was so
Wow.
cool to hear those girls on those background vocals. It was
Yeah.
really a treat for everybody that went out and saw that band. It was really a treat. And here's a little frame of reference for your listeners. Uh, that's me,
Yeah. Oh, that's you.
and that's Ed King's wife, Sharon,
Oh, okay.
next to me.
Yeah. Yeah. There you
So
go. Okay.
you
Yeah.
could
Cool.
tell how much younger I looked when this actually happened. and how many years ago it was. But it's time
Yeah.
really that, you know, especially since it becomes hard to draw from the same well, being
Mhm.
that, you know, the real Skynyrd band ended on October 2077, to keep the fans going. It's a nice little sidebar to Ronnie's legacy, and you know, that fans should go out and especially enjoy JoJo and Leslie too, because they
Mhm.
really were performing like optimal. It wasn't like, yeah, you
Wow.
know, they're old and we dragged them out of retirement. They were really, really good.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was really
I'm
cool.
and I'm also surprised that knowing that Leslie and JoJo had such different personalities and different, ways of their lifestyle and beliefs. I'm surprised that they even agreed to work together. I'm just so surprised that this whole thing came together and that it wasn't more publicized.
Again, it was another one of those act of God things. I thought, well, we're going to try and get
Yeah.
Leslie, but who knows? Who knows where she is? Nobody's
Yeah.
seen her professionally for so long that we we don't know if she's either going to be able to sing, going to want to sing. And
Absolutely.
she
Yeah.
came back and she did sing, and it was a great
And
success.
and if anybody goes and looks at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony, you'll see Leslie and JoJo singing it. I was shocked when you told me. I thought, what? I had
Yeah,
no idea that they were there. I didn't know. I had to go back and see it for myself. Now I want to ask you a question. So you were saying about that you got to know Leslie and JoJo pretty well,
yeah,
right? As
oh yeah,
individuals. So tell us something about now. I know you told me that you took Leslie shopping for
yeah.
clothes. I want you to tell us that story. Craig, what do you do with the backgrounds?
I
He
mean,
keeps changing those backgrounds.
if there's if there's
We're
one thing
good.
that
We're good.
I
I
if there's
put
love it.
this
one
one
thing that
up here. I thought that was this was Mikey with Alan. Was that you, Mike?
No,
no, I
I
never met
saw
Alan
that.
Collins.
That was Mikey Caruso.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I never met
Okay.
Alan Collins.
By the way, that Lynyrd Skynyrd I thing the behind you, I have one of those. Craig gave me one of those, so I have it.
Oh,
And
the
it's
cross guitars. Yeah, that my
yeah,
my friend Don made
Oh,
those
okay.
for
and
me.
no, it's not for sale. No, it's mine.
Yeah.
All
I have some that
right.
are though. I've even
No, I
got a
love it.
white one, a cream colored one.
No, I have mine is just like that one. But yeah, so I'm just amazed. When you
Yeah,
first
it's a
told
cool
me that, I
part of
was like,
Skinner
what?
history.
Yeah. So now
It's
tell me what it was like with your friendship with Leslie and how you wound up going shopping with her and where you took her. You didn't go to, did she go to the high-end stores, Bloomingdale's, nor Neiman Marcus?
yeah.
No. I mean, I'm
Well,
asking you because I already know what the answer is.
to set the backdrop a little bit for people who haven't heard the story, like like I said earlier, that Artemis's band played the night before on the USS Intrepid, and the girls were, I think JoJo had already gone to the city, and Leslie was still out here, but someone from the band called me, and probably Mark, the manager, and said, "Hey, you got to go and pick up Leslie. You got to take her shopping." And I'm like, "Shopping? What does she need?" Well, um, she's going to be able to perform uh, at tonight's ceremony, and she doesn't have anything to wear. She doesn't have any clothes that are at least clean at a minimum, that's appropriate to be on the taping of the Skynyrd induction of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, I pick her up at the hotel, and she was like, "Well, where are we going to go?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I know maybe like one place where they sell women's clothes, but it was like Kohl's or something, like sort of low end." So we go into the store, and she's going through the rack, and I'm kind of trying to not be that close to her because I want her to feel comfortable, that she can go through at her pace. I don't want her to feel like she's rushed and,
Yeah.
you know, be annoying. but I'm sort of watching her. She's going along, and every once in a while, she'll do one of these. What do you think? And I'm like, yeah, that was pretty good. So I guess after a bit of shopping around, I think we had gone to 2 or 3 different stores too, actually. She got some clothes that she liked, and she was ready to go for the induction, but it was a complete surprise. Like I said earlier, that the girls weren't inducted, so they didn't think that they were going to really be part of the performance either. But somebody worked it out. Artemis Pyle got it worked out on behalf of the girls through probably Gary or Judy. But yeah, it was cool. It was real cool. And that was the first time also too that Ed had been in the same space with Gary, and Ed had his little tiffs and Ed wasn't really happy about the way he left Skynyrd either. So it was sort of, I remember the buzz around the media was kind of like, is there going to be trouble at the induction with all these Skynyrd guys getting together for the first time in a long time, after multiple lawsuits from multiple different band members and things like that. So fortunately, Blondie got inducted that year, and Blondie took care of all that controversy because Deborah Harry would not allow the original members of Blondie and the 2 guys that wrote all of those hit songs for Blondie perform at the induction. Deborah Harry performed with the guys that were in the current Blondie.
Oh, I see.
If you watch that tape, Black Sabbath got in, Skynyrd, Blondie, and Miles Davis was the other one. So, you could best believe that myself and Artemis Pyle and a bunch of other people, including some of Miles Davis's kids, were in the Waldorf, smoking joints out the bathroom window and, trying not to get arrested, because that was before weed was legal, but we got stoned at the Waldorf for sure. It was a
Tell
great.
me about the performance. I'm sorry, the Intrepid. You mentioned the Intrepid. How did they get a gig at the Intrepid? What was that all about?
The Intrepid was put together by another group of guys that were also a Skynyrd tribute band. This guy, Willie, from another Long Island guy, nice guy. He had, his band was called, oh my God, it's embarrassing for me not to be able to remember that name, because Willie's a great guy.
That's all right. We'll come to you. But anyway,
he worked with Artemis a bunch, and when he hired Artemis, Artemis made him hire me. So I got to go along with the ride that he took with that band. And I think Leslie and Joe sang with Willie's band. Oh my God, I remember the band. And when all these guys see this, they're going to be like, you're shot.
Hey, listen, you're on the Stone Roadie podcast.
Yeah.
It's okay. This is a big deal.
I wasn't really much thinking about that, but that's how the gig went on the Intrepid. But it was a fundraiser of some sort for like Wounded Warriors.
Okay.
Artemis Pyle does a lot of gigs where he donates money to all kinds of different causes.
Now, I had read that they this band also raised money for the victims of Hurricane Katrina. Were you aware of that?
If they did, it was unbeknownst to me.
Yeah, it says together they raised money for Hurricane Katrina victims. I found that last night when I was looking up information about Saturday Night Special Band.
Artemis was forever saying to Mark and the people who ran the bands, like, yo, this guy, I know this guy, he's got a foundation, his daughter got sick and this happened and that happened, I would love to help him out. So he to Artemis's credit, he does a heck of a lot of charity work. He's
Okay.
he's a cool dude like that.
So tell me about how these band members got along. I mean, Artemis had
Everybody got
been
along. I mean,
kicked
my God.
out, Ed left, Jojo and Leslie weren't real. I mean, they all brought it together professionally and
I think it was enough after the fact and all the bad things that had happened to them collectively and individually as members of the Skynyrd organization was kind of behind them, I mean, Leslie was kind of hard to figure out. Like I said, I never could really quite understand why she did it because she wasn't super extroverted. You know what I mean? She didn't
yeah.
seem like a person who was dying for someone to say, "Hey, come play with us and you'll get a little attention." She wasn't like that at all. I know that when she worked on Artemis's record, she was super professional and super concerned that things got mixed right and that she sounded good and that the track sounded good, like a real pro. Like these girls were pros.
Okay. Now
And
you had said that Artemis asked you to be part of this project, probably because you had worked with him previously when you met him down in Asbury Park. Is that what happened?
yeah, when the Saturday Night Special band actually dissolved and that was the end of that whole thing, he me and Artemis had like a good relationship and a good rapport. Like if he was coming up here from Carolina to do shows, a lot of the times he would play my drums or uh it would save him packing all that stuff up and having to bring it. I had a truck, so I always had drums in my truck at all times, pretty much. I was playing in a band myself. I have had a band that was pretty busy around this time also. So uh, you know, it was easier for him to bring up drums, and a lot of the stuff was here on the East Coast. So I think he just felt like I need someone to help me. And he didn't want to leave it up to people that he didn't know. And he already knew me, and he already knew that he could trust me and count on me, and that, things were going to always be okay. Pretty much.
Good. That's great. So what kind of drums? I believe Artemis played Slingerland drums,
Yeah.
and you played Slingerlands as well?
Um, at the time he was playing a Gretsch kit, but I had a set of Slingerlands that was sort of like um a replica of his Skynyrd setup, kind of.
Okay.
And he played that a lot. But eventually, my band recorded, and I bought a new set of drums, and I bought a set of DWs, which is the Cadillac of drum sets. And I tried to get Artemis playing that drum set as often as I could, because I thought that drum set just sounded a heck of a lot better than his drum set sounded. So.
And what is your contact with Artemis today? Do you still talk to him or keep in touch with him
Um,
frequently?
yeah, I talk to him sort of on a regular basis ever since I've met him. It's always been a kind of a tradition that I have, that on his birthday and on October 20, I always send him a message and see what he's doing. But most of the time, I'll make it a point to try and go see the band somewhere locally, because he has lots and lots of fans up here and plays gigs up here a lot. This is a really rich place for Southern rock bands to be playing. Long Island and Jersey, as you know, has
Yep.
always been, for whatever reason, sort of like a Southern rock
Yeah.
gold mine for all kinds of bands. I mean, Doug Gray and Marshall Tucker still come around on a regular basis. And last year or a couple of years ago, they had the Southern Rock Festival, and I think that's Kearney, New Jersey, or Kearney.
Carney. Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a place called Jimmy's Bar and Grill. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big Southern Rock Festival. That was actually the last time I saw Artemis Pyle, face to face.
Really?
But I don't try and bother him too much, you know? Like he's
You know,
busy,
yeah.
he's on the road all the time, and you know, at this point it's almost 20 years ago. It's like a lifetime ago, but it's cool that we do stay in touch a little bit, you know. I don't, you know, talk to him on a regular basis like he's you know, close to me like he was then, where, you know, what we were doing on a day-to-day basis was relevant to one another, but now it, you know, he's doing well.
So this is a question that people have repeatedly asked Craig. Why doesn't Artemis come on the Stone Roadie show? Get Artemis on the Stone Roadie show. And Craig's is always answers, hey, if he wants to come on, he's more than welcome to come on, but he's not going to actually reach out to him. But do you
Well,
think he would come on the podcast?
I would love for Artemis Pyle to come onto the podcast as long as Craig gets a team of lawyers that could make up a stack of documents thick as the Bible that forbids him from expressing his political opinions.
Yeah.
Because I think he would alienate a lot of the Stone Roadie viewers with some of his more open-minded liberal ideas. But why? I wouldn't say he's intentionally not coming on the Stone Roadie show, but I'm sure if Craig called him on the phone and said, "Hey man, come on my show," he would say, "I'd love to come on your show, dude." I think he would.
I've asked him. He said, I don't think it'd be a good idea.
Really? Why would he say that to you? You guys must have smoked more
Oh, I
joints.
know. Me and Artemis were really, really good friends. Well, you know, back when I was his original drum roadie, yeah, me and my
Yeah,
family would go up in there and see him and his family, and we spend the night up there. Yeah, we
and
were
he's an
very close at
admirable
one time.
owner.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That perplexes me, honestly. I would think that he would be overjoyed to be on the show because I know he's been out and he's doing media. He's a little bit more
Yeah.
selective about what he's doing, I think, nowadays than he used to, because the band that he's working with now are super great guys who are consummate professionals, and they know how to run a band and run a tour and book and do all those things. So, uh, you know,
They
he's
had a gig here up here that I was planning on going to, but then it was everything got shut down at COVID, so it got canceled. Yeah. So.
yeah, I mean, he's definitely said good things about Craig to me in the past, for sure. I
No,
mean,
I've never had any issues with
yeah,
Artemis at all. Yeah, we
plus,
went up to Bat Cave, North Carolina during Rossington Collins, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah, we've had a long history together.
yeah. I know that in general, he doesn't really touch computers. He doesn't have an email address. He doesn't post on stuff. He'll do podcasts and interviews, but he won't do any of the the distribution of that material to the internet, because he's not part of social media or anything like that. You know, I'm sure people in his band do all that stuff for him now. People who manage his current band are doing all that kind of stuff. I mean, they got a deal to make a record with Dolly Parton, so those guys must know what the heck they're doing. So I'm totally happy for Artemis Pyle that since the induction, I think his career has done better and he seems really healthy. And I feel like I talked to him recently about something, but I can't remember exactly what it was. But I know he's doing good, and I know his band's busy working. So
He just had a heart issue, I understand.
yeah, somebody told me that something was up with his heart. He had a stent put in, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, mild heart attack and had to have a stent put in, from what I understand. Yeah,
I
I
think
guess he's doing good now. Yeah.
at what I
It
guess.
surprises me because he's always been always ate really healthy and stuff. And I thought heart attacks those stent things only happen to people that ate a lot of
Yeah, on a pizza.
meat and fat and stuff, and
Yeah,
it clogged their arteries. And I know for a fact he's never done that.
yeah, he's pretty. pretty energetic for a guy his age. He's like 72 or 73 now, maybe,
No,
right?
I'm 73. He's older than me. He's a couple years older than me, I think.
Oh,
I think
wow.
he's 75,
Yes.
yeah.
74,
Or five,
75.
yeah, because I'm 73. I just turned 73. He's older than me.
Yeah. He's still out there playing. So, I mean, God
I
bless him.
couldn't do it. I
And,
wouldn't want to do
uh,
it. I'm
I talk
retired.
to my friends all the time about all these classic rock bands that are out there and they're still doing it. I'm like, oh, they should retire. Why do they bother? Stay home and spend your money, spend time with your kids, go on podcasts, tell stories, you know, communicate with your fans and, you know, relax and enjoy it. You work your butt off to make all this money. Don't you want to enjoy it? Like Ricky's out on the road doing something now, working with a bunch of young guys and him. They call themselves Blackfoot because obviously Ricky owns the name Blackfoot. So I'm thinking to myself, like, my God, Ricky's been on the road since, I mean, he's been in Skynyrd since what, 2004, maybe?
Yes, yeah, right there, yeah.
Yeah, like
2004.
04, like he's been running every year on a full-blown tour.
I
Like,
guess they
Oh,
just
yeah.
love it. They love it. And it's also the money too. I mean, a lot of them come back, this is the final show, the final tour, and then they come back a couple of years later, we're back.
good, good.
So, some people say it's a money grab, this is our tribute or last tour or whatever, but then they're back. I saw Peter Frampton, was it about 5 years ago at Madison Square Garden? It was his goodbye tour. Now he's
Yeah,
back on tour.
yeah,
It
thanks.
doesn't stop. I guess they love it
It's
too,
a
but
sales pitch too to get people to think, oh, I'll never see this person again, or they'll never perform live again. But
yeah, they all do it. They
they
all do it.
all come back.
They all do it.
And I
So,
get it to come back to do a show, an award show or a special or something, but how these guys tour, like Craig said, I mean, do you ever sleep in a slip on a tour bus? It's really not great. It really is not a lot of fun. You have to be intoxicated to even fall asleep in that thing without feeling like you're going to get crushed or something's going to suffocate you. I never liked sleeping in a slip because they're really close to your face when you get in a bus slip. But, you know, I guess these guys all go first class though nowadays.
yeah.
I mean,
There's a
but
lot of people that, that are not in the entertainment business, but you hear do the same thing though. They say, I'll never retire. I'll work till the day I die. And I don't understand that logic.
logic either.
I just don't. You know, I've been retired for a long time.
I know, and it's
I'm
great to see
73.
you.
I've been
It's
retired
it's
for a
great to see
long
you
time.
being the Stone Roadie and not have
And I
checking
enjoy every
up
minute
and
of it.
nobody waking you up. You can occasionally overdose on edibles and it's all good. You don't have to lie to the boss about where you were or what you were doing.
Craig has his
Anybody
little,
that knows me very well knows that money is not a real high motivator for me. I mean,
Yeah.
people accuse me of doing all kind of stuff for money, but people that really know me will tell me, Craig's not motivated by money at all. He does it because he wants to. It's not because of the money.
well,
As a
Craig
matter of
keeps
fact,
himself busy. He has his flight simulators and his race cars and his dog. So he's
My
got a lot.
spaceships, all my
The
spaceships are my
spaceships.
thing now.
and don't forget the rocks.
I fly by spaceships.
I
Yeah, it's
know.
good.
It's great.
Yeah,
Well,
hey, I
I
got
see.
Jesus for Survivors is coming through my area here. Tomorrow he's gonna come and see me for a little bit. Him and his son are coming in my area, and he wanted to stop and see me. I goes, yeah, come on by, so that'll be fun.
Oh, cool.
That's
Yeah,
Wow.
he's one of our main contributors. He donated five
Wow.
grand last year to the Forgotten Survivors Fund. Yeah, cool guy. He calls me and Griff his disciples. He, call- he 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 sent Griff a saw Griff baptizing his neighbor with a garden hose. They sent him a sprinkler. Calls Griff the Baptist. Sent him the kiwi beads. Mine are over here. Yeah.
What's next for the rocket scientist and Kent Griffith? Is he going to have Kent back on the show?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I did that solo show Friday, and I kind of commented that I was going to put the third part of that on the end, and
Yeah.
I was having trouble with getting it loaded and everything, and so it just didn't sync up right. So then I had to delete everything and start over again, and I'm not real good at editing, and it was so yeah, it was right at 6 o'clock in the morning by the time I got that thing up. I was kind of, it was fun.
Wake and bake.
Yeah. But if you don't, some wise man once said, if you don't ever make any mistakes, it's because you're never trying anything new. So yeah, I make a lot of mistakes, so I must still be trying a lot of new stuff.
Yeah. If there's one guy that I've ever met throughout my days of knowing Skynyrd things and Skynyrd people is Kent Griffith. I can't say enough good things about Kent Griffith. The guy is absolutely a wealth of knowledge, a really articulate, nice guy. Your viewers and your listeners are gonna really be loving getting to know Kent Griffith if he becomes sort of a contributor to the show as far as sharing some of his recordings and some of his memorabilia, and that guy has stories for days. I've known Kent for a long time, and I can vouch for Kent 100%. He is the most Skynyrd guy out there. You can't beat Kent Griffith for knowledge.
Well, round 3 will be coming up here shortly. Yeah, we probably on the next one that me and Griff do, because he went down and did Oliver Anthony. I think I mentioned earlier that we're going to make that a Sunday morning acoustic for tomorrow morning. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've been
trying. Mikey, I'm sorry, Mikey. Did you want to? I know that you had mentioned that the Saturday Night Special Band has a lot of videos on YouTube. So if anybody's wants to check them out, they can find a lot of that stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who, everybody that listens to the show should be aware of this band because of the people that we've talked about and what they did and how they did it. It's all on the internet, like everything else. If you, you could probably just put in like Ed King's last recordings and JoJo and Leslie's last recordings. They'll probably come up as being listed as some of the last things they've done. Pretty sure that JoJo's record, and I know Artemis's solo record is definitely has a YouTube page, I think, where you can listen to the whole album for free. And
right.
Your fans should listen to the whole album because it'll be fun for you to sort of do a Where's Waldo as you listen to the songs and try and figure out who the songs are about and why they were written.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. So we have the rest of the podcast to do. So Mikey, do you want to stick around or do you want to sign off on we have a lot of questions and things that people have been saying to me. Kathy, I asked you this question a while ago, you never answered it. So I definitely want to get to that stuff today.
Yeah, you should go ahead and get to all that stuff. I'm sure your listeners have had enough of Saturday Night Special talk for the time being. Anyway, I hope though that people get out there and watch some of that stuff and hopefully, give some feedback into thinking like, some of those recordings were made like really close to the time that Ed passed away. And, it's to see anything that Ed King has accomplished is pretty cool.
Well, before we started this, we kind of talked about Ed doing that in the first place, and I kind of mentioned that
Yeah,
Ed kind of was, as far as in my opinion, Ed did some really obscure things just to see how it would be, the outcome would would
yeah.
come out, you know.
It was
You-
almost like getting in a car with someone that you knew drove too fast, but you just wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah,
It worked
that's
out
like
really
when
good though. It worked out
I know
really
about
good
that.
because the band was really good. And all the guys that are in the Saturday Night Special band, George Festo, Eric Tolnes, uh, um, Mike, the keyboard player was another Mike, Mike DeRoches, uh,
Mhm.
Thane Sharon on vocals. Everybody that was involved with that band were all really top-notch musicians and great people. So it was really easy and smooth. There's no drama. There's no exciting stories about, you know, cars crashing and people fighting and bad things happening. It was just a heck of a lot of fun for a bunch of people who were really passionate about the music out there playing it to the fans, which you guys know are a phenomena that the Skynyrd subject is relevant to someone right now.
Mhm.
All these years later, Craig says it all the time that, you know, it's amazing how the legacy of this band just keeps going and going and going, and it doesn't really seem to slow down that much, it seems. But
Yeah, we got a new follower. He's Grady Tooney. He's 15 years old and he's a guitar player, and he seems to be following the Lynyrd Skynyrd legend or legacy or whatever. Yeah, he's
it's
you know,
fantastic.
it's funny
It's,
how, you know.
it's cool. Some of the best music ever made by any band of that era. So the fact that it still holds up against critics old and young is a testament to Ronnie Van Zant's greatness, as Artemis Pyle would often say,
True.
that I'm here because Ronnie was a genius and he was a gifted guy, and I'm just a guy who plays the drums. And I was
That
lucky to
is
be
true.
Ronnie's drummer, and Ed too. I think Ed was in awe of Ronnie Van Zant also. That was my impression of Ed, and he talks on interviews a lot about how he he called Ronnie Van Zant a genius, and he was I think he was proud to be part of that legacy. I think they all were. JoJo, Leslie, Bob, they were all proud of being connected to Ronnie Van Zant. And that's all what it is. It's like a chain. You know, Artemis is connected to Ronnie. I'm connected to Artemis. Craig is connected to everyone. We're all happy and
It
all the
was an
people.
amazing trip. It was
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
an
fun.
amazing trip. I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine. Somebody asked me on the last thing what I thought I'd have done if I'd never done this, and I went, I couldn't even imagine, not being able to experience this with them, couldn't even
Yeah,
Yeah.
imagine. It was something
it
else.
was it's an amazing band, and it's cool that the fans still want to hear about stuff, even little stories like mine. I'm not a big player in the game. I'm just a guy who worked for Artemis Pyle for a few years. There's people
Yeah.
like Craig that are a treasure to the community of people who care about this music, and I'm I feel blessed, and I'm thankful to you guys for having me on the show. It's been cool, and I know the show is going to continue to get better as long as we're all here.
Thank you
All
so much.
right,
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much,
As long as we're
my
all
dear.
Yeah,
here.
thanks for coming
Yeah.
on
Thank you so
today.
much,
Thanks
guys.
for joining us. Did you want to, I have some questions for Craig. Do you want to stick around or did you want to sign off? I know it's a rainy Saturday afternoon, but whatever you'd like to do is
Yeah,
fine.
I'm not really doing much, but I do have a few things to do, and
All
you
right.
just have to do your little wrap up.
All right.
Yes, we're going to look forward to seeing Griff sometime soon again.
Yeah.
Griff's
Yeah.
coming back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Griff's going to be doing another morning show with you, right, Craig?
cool,
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
cool.
What is this? This is Saturday. Yeah, it'd be Monday morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Mikey. See you later, alligator at the wild
Thanks.
crocodile.
Thanks so much, Mikey. Thanks for coming on. And I know that a lot of YouTube is going to get a lot of hits on this Saturday Night Special band. I'm going to definitely check it out too.
Check it out, guys. You'll have a
All
great
righty,
day.
Mikey. Yeah, you
Enjoy
gotta
Thanks so
sign
much,
this.
Mikey.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See, that Saturday Night Special band, I didn't even
sign
know.
yourself off. I can't do it.
All right.
So Craig, we were talking about the 6 degrees of separation and how Mikey, reached out to somebody to get Leslie's JoJo's information. Same thing. So many people keep asking, when is Linda Blair going to be on? Can you get Linda Blair on? I want to know more about Linda Blair. So I reached out to her. I looked her up in the internet. I found some information about her and I sent her an email. So I know it's the right contact. So let's see if she responds. I don't know. I know she's involved with animals and rescuing and getting homes for animals. And she's out in California. She's not in Connecticut. So let's see if she responds. And if she responds,
you sent me that, and I was going to comment to her, and it said that there were no comments set up. Yeah.
Yeah, but I found her.
I'd like to talk to her. Yeah, she's really thin. She's really
she is.
Really
yeah,
thin.
Skinny. She was a little on the heavier side, I think I recall, in the 70s when she was in a lot of movies. Yeah. So we'll see if we can get her on here. If I can make contact with her, that will be great. I just put in the email regarding Craig Reed.
Still remember me. Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, okay. That was a way to get her attention. So anyway, I got some questions, and cousin Figel, whom we love so much, he's asked a question about Hell House with the keyboards. He said, at Hell House, what kind of keyboards did Billy play?
Wurlitzer. All he had back then was a Wurlitzer. Yeah.
Okay, played a Wurlitzer. Okay, there you go.
Small Wurlitzer. It wasn't even 88 keys. It was just a Wurlitzer. Just a little small electric Wurlitzer. That's what he had when I first got with the band, that little Wurlitzer. That's all he played for a long time.
And when did the big white grand piano come into play?
Oh, 75, into 75, somewhere around in there. Yeah. Yeah, those big white Steinway, the baby grand, yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then Don Evans, he wants to know more about the band's gear. He said, I'm a guitar head, specifically Peavey. I just bought a Peavey Artist 240 based on information provided by Craig on this show. Does Craig know which songs were recorded using that amp?
The whole Street Survivor album. I think from what I remember, every song was done on the artist from all 3 guitar players. Seems like Gary used something else. I don't remember what on something, but it was all mostly done on artists, from what I remember. I remember Gary playing with another amp on some song, but I don't remember what it was now.
Do you have to remember the amp settings?
Not really. Treble was all the way up. Bass was on about 3, and I can't remember whether an artist has mid-range or not. If it did, it was probably on about 3.
Right. And then
no reverb or nothing on those. So.
Okay. Hope that's helpful, Don Evans. Charles Duffy wants to know when your videos are going to be available. Everybody wants to know.
I'm kind of delinquent in my duties at a lot of stuff. Like I said before, money's just not a real big motivator for me. Everybody tells me, "Oh, you'll make so much money writing a book." That's not going to motivate me, Oh, you put out your films, you'll make so much money. It's not a motivator to me, you know? I mean, despite what people think about me, money's just not a big motivator to me. You know,
So is
right at
yeah.
this point in my life, I have everything I want. I have everything I need, and I just, you know, I don't need anything else. So money's just not a big motivator. It'd be nice to have a whole bunch of backup, but
Mhm.
I don't need it, so I don't go after it, you know. It's the way it is.
Well, aside from earning money from it, just the fact that a lot of people would like to see
Yeah,
those.
that's the only reason I'm doing these podcasts, because you think yeah, these things take up a lot of my time, you know, but yeah, if maybe people they want me to write, it's either this or write a book, and I'm not going to write a book, not at this point, anyways. But I don't know, things are getting to be kind of amusing. I might, I don't know, might be something I think about maybe down the road. I don't know,
Yeah.
but not at this point.
Okay. And Larry Tate, aka Dave,
Mhm.
people are always asking when you're going to write a book, and he said something interesting. He said, Craig is doing a book, but it's a visual and audio book on YouTube as he does each show. So stop asking when he's going to write a book. It's not going to happen. He's doing a book right now. Don't ask anymore.
Well, yeah, you know, there's been so many things done on Skinner, you know, and people want me to write a book, and in my mind, you know, people want you to write a book so you find out information you want to know. But in my opinion, if I do a podcast, and people can ask me anything they want to know, and it might be something that would never ever come up in a book. But you know, it might be something I remember. But you know, there's a lot of things I just don't remember anymore. God, it was 50 years ago, and you got to remember I have brain damage. Yeah, you know, so yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of stuff that it's very foggy to me.
Well, I think everything that you contribute and talk about are things that people just love to know because you're such a good source. You were there. So if you had written a book at one point, I'm sure that it would be a big seller. I mean, I have a lot of those Skynyrd books. The only one I don't have is Ron Eckerman's, from what I know. And I mean, I don't read them cover to cover. The only one that I have read cover to cover is Paul Abraham's book. His book was very easy to read and really interesting, but a lot of the other ones, I just kind of look through them. If I want to look up
So,
something, I'll find something to read.
somebody the other day asked me which tour was my favorite tour, and you know, they kind of all just seem to run together. You know, there's certain incidents you can pick out here and there, but I don't know. I can't really sit back and put tours in sections, you know. It just kind of all runs together.
Well, what about like the big ones like Nebworth and Oakland, the Day in the Green?
Well,
Weren't
yeah, I
those?
remember those shows specifically. Yeah, the Nebworth shows and the New Year's Eve shows, and you know,
Right.
some of those like that, you know, the Live at the Fox, and those, yeah, those were, you know, and there was other ones that, you know, were certain things happened that, you know, I remember, you know, but you know, a lot of it's very sketchy. Due to my alcohol, my drug abuse and alcoholism, you know. Not gonna lie about it.
Well, I
There's
recall the
there's a
picture.
lot of things people, you know, I would get up the next day, they go, Craig, do you remember what you did last night? And I go, no. So I'm certainly not going to remember now.
Oh.
I opened my door and you were peeing in the planter in the hallway.
That was stuff that Leon would do, right? Didn't Leon, Billy, they got into a lot of trouble too, from what I recall you saying. So I got another question from Brian Dugas. Now, Paul, I apologize if you've already covered this question, but he wanted to know about Billy's pianos. He said, did they ever rent pianos, or was Billy's piano just taken everywhere? How
We
did they
took it
do that?
everywhere. Yeah, that white Steinway become a stigma for Billy. That people expect, they wanted to see that white Steinway, that, and the band recognized that, so they took it, Yeah, you can't go to every city and find a baby grand white Steinway, so they just had to take it, so they did. But
And I
yeah,
remember
that
you.
became something that they wanted to see. They wanted to see Billy wanting that white Steinway. They wanted to see that.
A
So
couple of weeks ago, I saw a tribute, Skinner tribute band, and they had the big white piano. It wouldn't have been correct or accurate if they didn't have the big white piano there, because that's
that
what
big
everybody
white
wants to see.
Steinway, yeah. If you're
Big white
doing, yeah,
Steinway.
you
Now,
don't look right without it.
that's true. But Brian seems to recall that Billy would have a black grand piano at one point. Did you ever recall him playing a black
No,
grand?
I don't
Okay.
remember. I know. Man, it might have been once or I don't know, at a TV shoot or something like that. Where we went to a studio, or I don't know,
Yeah.
a one-off. Yeah,
Okay.
possibly. I can't say it never happened, but it didn't. Yeah, was something that was happens often.
I always picture the big white piano. That's what I call it.
Yeah, everybody did. I mean, everybody. Yeah, everyone wanted to see that big white Steinway up there.
And the disco ball that went and that's another thing I never really even
Yeah,
noticed until
yeah.
we started
Everybody wanted to see
talking about
that damn mirror ball. Yeah. That great big giant mirror ball. Yeah, you went to a Skinner show, you had to see the mirror ball.
it.
And it was only used for about 10 seconds, and then they try and pull it back out. But during Freebird, that's the only time they used it. There was a specific point of the song where it came down.
Yeah. Craig, were you responsible to make sure that the disco ball was taken down each time? What if they forgot to take it down, or did
Oh
that ever
no,
happen?
no! The mirror ball came with it. Was huge. It was like 4 foot. You couldn't miss it.
Really?
Oh,
Oh
it
my
was big. It
goodness.
was huge. Yeah, it was like 4 foot, 4 foot round. It was huge.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh
Yeah, it was
man,
huge.
that's interesting. All right. Tina Oresco. Now, she asked once before the last podcast, she wanted to know about the Hamburg concert, Hamburg, Germany concert. That was where something happened, but she wants to know what made Ronnie so mad that he cut up his and Gary's wrists. Like, what happened that he was so angry at Gary?
I was even there, and we were in this really nice hotel, and I don't know, it was Gary and Ronnie and Gary and John Butler were in the room, and I was in and out of there. And I was in the hallway. I think me and Ron Eckerman were out in the hallway, and all of a sudden it was just hell of a hell of a ruckus going on. And we ran in the room, and John Butler's holding his head, and Gary's holding his hand, and Ronnie's got a broken bottle in his hand. Yeah, and he broke this beer bottle on John Butler's head, and then commenced to cutting Gary up with this broken beer bottle in his hands. Yeah, and saying something to the I don't know, you'll never play again, or you suck, or I don't know, you can't play anyway, or I can't remember the exact words, but yeah, he was. I don't know what it was all about.
So Ronnie said this to Gary.
Yeah. Yeah, he bashed John Butler over the head with that beer ball and broke it, and then cut Gary's hands up with it.
And you
And
don't
I was
know
right there, but I was outside the room when he actually hit him over the head and cut Gary's hands up. I'd have
oh,
tried to stop, prevent that from happening. I'd have probably got cut up too if Ronnie was that. But I get in there afterward, thank God.
but you don't know what made you don't recall what made
Don't no,
Ronnie so angry?
something happened that Gary messed up or something. I don't know.
Oh wow.
Because I suppose Ronnie said something to Gary about it, and Gary didn't come up with the right answer, and he. I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't there, so I can't comment on exactly what went down. All I
So
can
this
say,
happened before the
I
concert or after
walked
the
in, I
concert?
saw John holding his head and Gary holding
Jeez.
his hand, and he
Oh my
bled.
gosh.
Yeah, he bled. They had to replace all the carpet in that room and all the way down the hallway and up the there was a big spiral stair. They had to replace a bunch of carpeting all over that hotel. It was Gary bled all over the place.
But Gary was able to play afterwards with
No,
the
well,
bandaged
he
hands.
did, but he wasn't really able. Man, I had so much respect for Gary after that because his hands were all. When he was, we still did shows. We didn't cancel any shows,
Hmm.
and Gary was playing, and you could tell that he was in so much pain, from trying to play with his hands all messed up like that. But he played, and you could see the pain. You could see he was in a lot of pain, but he was playing. His hands were all cut up. Yeah, that's crazy.
I would think that if Ronnie were upset about Gary making a mistake, that he wouldn't injure Gary's hands, so it would be more difficult for him to
Well, it was the
play.
whiskey talking, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff that happened with that band that was totally unexplainable. Yeah, just, you know,
I
wasn't
recall
rational for sure.
I recall seeing Alan with like black eye or a picture of him with black eye
Ronnie
where
never messed with Alan. I never saw Ronnie ever mess with Alan. I don't think Ronnie would have been afraid that Alan would have left. Because
mm,
Ronnie went to Alan whenever Ronnie had an idea. Before Steve got there, he always went to Alan first, as far as I could see. For music to
mhm.
a song, if Ronnie would come up to an idea, he would always approach Alan first.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think that was? Was
As
this
his
different kind of
Ronnie
bond or
Alan wrote Gary wrote more things that are more melodic, in my opinion,
Mhm.
and Alan wrote things that were more driven, Ronnie was always looking for those songs that were driven, because that's what fans want to hear. They want to hear those songs that
Mhm.
make your shoes shuffle around, and that's the kind of thing. Yeah. Don't care for that fancy music if your shoes don't
Just
shuffle
can't shuffle
around.
around.
What do you want?
That's true.
That
That's
Skinner
true.
songs were all power, man. They were up. Yeah, that was Ronnie's philosophy, man. You got there,
Yeah.
hit him with the right, hit him with the left, hit him with the right, kick him in the nuts, and drop him, and then leave with the crowd wanting more. Yeah, that was his
I love it.
philosophy. Is just yeah, they were all hit him with those power songs.
Yeah.
They had a few of
Yeah. All right. And then Jeff Kaufman. I know you've talked about this so many times, but he may have missed this one. The hotel where you first met Ed King and the band. What was the name of the hotel originally? When you first met them in
the Holiday Inn in Kent. Yeah,
the
well.
Holiday Inn. And what is it called now?
It's a Comfort Inn, I think. It says
Okay.
yeah,
Comfort
it's
Inn.
right off of 76 going in Kent, right off there at Gilcrest Road. I think it's a Comfort Inn, or yeah.
That's
Wait,
all. That's where it all went down. That's where it all
used to be a
started.
Holiday Inn, but yeah.
Okay. And he also wants to know the song Needle and the Spoon, the lyrics. He always thought that Ronnie sang Southern doctors couldn't help my head, but he thinks Ronnie says 7 doctors couldn't help my
Seven doctors couldn't help my head.
seven. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, that's from Jeff Kaufman. And then Alan Titus, Rossington Collins Band, the premiere when they first came out. What do you remember about the premieres? Anything stick out when they first came out? to perform 1980. I guess it was June 1980, right?
The premieres? What do you mean by the premieres? What?
Well, he says premiere. I guess just the first concert when they first came out on tour. Anything?
Um,
Because you were with them.
yeah. Well, yeah, we were in El Paso, Texas, and that was when Dale was, you know, given the task to write to write songs, you know. So I went to Kmart or whatever and bought her a typewriter, and she sat out in the out in the lobby area and sit there on that typewriter and wrote songs. That's where Getaway and Don't Misunderstand Me and
Yeah.
Opportunity and all that stuff came up. And I don't remember which one was first, but
But when they first started performing as RCB, do you think they were really like ready for this after having,
oh
regrouped
man,
from
yeah, I
giving
remember.
tour?
Yeah, yeah, I remember. I was, I kind of remember the first shows they did. I would mark off where they were supposed to stand so they could get when a spotlight would hit them or a special light.
Hmm.
For a solo, there was a special light that would come down to where they were supposed to stand to get the premium lighting. And I remember putting a star out there where Dale was supposed to stand, and I
Oh,
was kind of apprehensive of doing that, not thinking maybe what Alan might think about it, like she's not the star, or whatever.
oh, okay,
I was kind of
okay.
apprehensive of doing it, but I did it anyways. But he didn't ever say anything.
Because when they first came out, that's what I was asking, because I know that they had a lot of problems with drugs and things that happened during the course of the Rossington Collins Band's 2 albums and tours. But when they first came out, do you think they're really ready? I mean, do you think they had healed enough after what happened to Lynyrd Skynyrd? They were ready to do this and come
Oh
back?
yeah, yeah. That
Okay.
Dale even said, "Are you ready for the real McCoys?" Right?
Yes. We're alive and well and ready.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And because I remember seeing the first concert I saw in, I guess, August of 1980. They were looked great
That
from
was a
my
strong
perspective. They
band.
were so happy. Yeah, they were.
It
But
was a
then,
strong band. Yeah.
but by the next year, the second year, it seemed like things had happened
Drugs.
and
Yeah, that was
pregnancy.
the second year the drugs really took over. Yeah, it was a lot. That Ross and Con was a big drug problem. There was a lot of shows that got canceled, because of drugs, you know,
Really.
just got too high and couldn't do the show the next day. There was a lot of them.
Oh boy. And then, I know with the loss of Kathy Collins in September of 1980, that was right after they started. So
Yeah.
do you see a big decline in Alan?
Oh yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, Charlie Daniels even commented to Gary and Alan. He goes, man, you know, you get, about their partying and stuff. He just tried to, he was kind of because we did a lot of shows with Charlie Daniels and they were canceling shows, and Charlie was kind of fed up with the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. We
Hmm.
did shows with Aerosmith and that was when Aerosmith was having problems too. Well, actually, that was with when Aerosmith had split up, and it was the Joe Perry project,
I
and
remember that.
we had Joe Perry opening up for us, and from what I saw, he wasn't in much better shape than they were. And they showed up real. As a matter of fact, they didn't show up for a gig until right when it was time to go on, and we had a roadie band called the Bad Box, or we had a roadie band. I don't think it was called the Bad Box Band then. I don't remember, but we had a roadie band, and we talked to the promoter, and if you know, if Joe Perry didn't show up, we were going to have the Roadie band go on and get paid $500 to open up for Rossi to call us, but then Joe Perry showed up.
I got a couple more questions. I was going to talk about the Sally Arnold book today, but we've been on quite a while, but I guess I'll just, so Sally Arnold's book is called the Nanny. And where's the book? It's right here, actually. Rock and Roll Nanny. I got the book, and I guess we'll talk about it on the next podcast. Some excerpts and memories that she had with the band members. We'll talk about in the next one because I want to answer the rest of the questions that people have been asking.
I'm looking for a picture of her with
Mm-hmm.
oh, here she is.
Yeah. Very
there
interesting
she is, right
book.
there on there's
Okay.
JoJo on one side of my head, and that's Sally Arnold on the other side.
Yeah.
That's
It's quite an interesting book.
That's in the studio at Riverside.
Okay. Yeah, the Lynyrd Skynyrd part is only a very small part of the book. She worked and managed a lot of bands. The Stones, she worked with Sarah Clapton, and a lot of bands she talks about. So we'll cover that.
She was good friends with Keith Moon, The Who, and everything. Yeah, she took me out in London one night on the town in London to the whole hot spots, and she took me to Keith Moon's house and
really
took me all over. That was real cool, yeah.
Yeah. She's not somebody I thought I saw something where it said she was a nurse. She wasn't a nurse. She was she went to a school for what it said here. She went to a school. Oh, she was a Norland nanny. And a Norland nanny is, sorry, my thing is scrolling up and down. Okay. The Rock and Roll Nanny. She went to Norland College, which is a British higher education provider. It specializes in childcare, and it's known for its prestigious training of nanny, nursery nurses, and other childcare professionals. And a lot of celebrities and royals use these Norland nannies. But she has quite a history.
Yeah, she knew Princess Di. She did events with Princess Di and the whole royal family during her career. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. All right, so we'll talk about her next time.
She's the one that introduced Dean into Lady Lambton. I showed the films of the Lambton castles. I'm pretty sure she's the one that introduced Dean to Lady Lambton.
Oh, that's how that came about. Okay.
And Dean and I stayed in that castle, and I filmed it.
Okay. All right. Mike Neighbors wants to know, why did Lynyrd Skynyrd drop Randall Hall?
I don't know. I think it was probably the reason they drop everybody, a money situation. I imagine or Randall asked for more money or something. I don't know. I would just suspect that would be it.
Okay. All right. And do you know anything about, did Randall play with Jimmy Van Zandt?
No, I don't. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know that one.
Okay.
Might have done a show with him or something. I don't know. I don't know what Randall or Barry Harwood, they do this and that and the other thing. Derek has, Derek and Randall and Barry Harwood were all in the Ross and Collins band. So they're still down in the Jacksonville area. So they continued their music career after they left Skynyrd or Ross and Collins.
Okay. I got somebody by the name of Observation 1606 wants to know why Alan grabbed the steering wheel. Was he, when somebody was driving, did he want them to crash? Like, what was that all about?
You know what? What would put that thought into somebody's head is beyond me, but
Well, you
He
were good
dang
friends with
sure did
him.
it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's speculation that he did it the night that girl got killed. That, the what was her name? Debbie?
Deborah. Yeah.
Deborah. Yeah, there's speculation that I think Steve Reynolds is familiar with that site, and he said you could see where there were it looked like the car was jerked off the road suddenly.
There's speculation about whether Alan was actually driving the car, that maybe whether Deborah was actually driving the car. He was charged. I mean, the police
Yeah,
investigation,
that's exactly right. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he was charged with vehicular manslaughter, I believe. But some people say he definitely was not driving that car. But then again, that's like you said, he could have just grabbed the steering wheel. But I mean, was that how he was? I mean, he was just like that. Did he think that
Yeah.
was
Oh, yeah. He'd reach if you weren't driving fast enough. He'd reach over and just put his foot right on top of your accelerator foot and just push the gas down to the floor. Oh God, yeah, he did that all the time. Yeah.
goodness? Because Gene Odom said that when he tried to do it with him, he stopped and don't you do that, boy. And he grabbed his
Oh, who
arm and
did that with
pushed
me?
his arm back. He wasn't going to take any of that
I
crap.
had to stand on the brakes to keep from hitting people. He thought it was fun.
I got another question from Mike Schmidt, my friend from Cranford. He said, wants to know, did any of the band's members have any peculiar rituals before going on stage? Now, I'm not talking about drinking. I'm talking about anything strange they did. Like, did they meditate? Did they have any lucky charms? Anything weird? Because you
No.
know what? Sometimes they do things that I think will be, help them. Anything for good luck or a good performance? Nothing. Nothing
No,
strange.
they didn't have any any rituals, I guess you would call them, that they did. No,
Did Ronnie warm up his voice like the way Steve?
no, no, no,
No. Okay.
no,
And then Justin.
they always kind of met before they went on stage and kind of got in a circle and kind of, you know,
Oh,
you know, and and if you're standing there with them, they always, get you involved in the circle, like a football team or whatever, come on, let's get in the circle, before we go up on stage, and
oh.
they'll pull people, and they'll pull people. Come on, get in here with us, and then just have a good show. Tear it
Oh,
up in
that's
there,
really
you
nice.
guys. And
Yeah,
just a
that's
little pep
nice.
talk, just a little pep talk, just get in a circle and have a little pep talk. Just get your
Mm.
heads together. Okay, here we go.
Get on out there.
Yeah, let's
And
get
then
serious here.
all right, just a couple more, Craig. Justin Alexander. Hey, Craig, what was the band's beer of choice? What did they like drinking?
Oh, Budweiser, I guess, back in those days. Those,
Okay.
uh,
All right. And then I got a question from Danny Podesta. Can you tell me which guitar that Alan produced? Which guitar that Alan played produced the best sound?
the Explorer.
All
Well,
right.
it depends the sound you were going for. The Blackie had Blackie, for the Stratocaster. That was his guitar of choice for that sound, and then for the power sound, he had the Explorer. Yeah,
So he
in my
basically just played the two guitars, the Explorer
yeah,
and the right.
he had the Firebird, and he had the Explorer, and he had different guitars he'd mess around with. When I got him that Guild endorsement, he even hot rodded a couple of Guilds up to play.
Yeah.
Mess around with them, different guitars.
Those guitars are heavy. I went to go see a band last weekend and I knew one of the members of the band, and he had a Gibson Les Paul, and I
Oh,
picked it
those are
up.
heavy.
I couldn't believe how heavy that guitar was. I mean, or were they all like that, or was it just the Les Paul?
No, that Les Pauls are really heavy. Yeah, yeah.
Why is that?
They-
I mean, it's a different type of
they're just the
wood,
kind
or
of
what
wood
is
they're
it?
made out of. It's a really
Oh,
dense type of wood. Yeah, they're really heavy. They're heavy. Yeah.
yeah, because I picked up guitars before, and I've never picked up a guitar that was that heavy. It was uncomfortably heavy to pick up.
That's why Gary's straps are so wide. Because if you have a real thin strap, it'll tear your shoulder up. You have to have a really wide strap to hold
Yeah.
that weight. Yeah.
Okay.
Bernice was
Well, well, I'm sorry. That's the end of the questions, Craig, for this week. I want to definitely talk about Sally Arnold's book on the next podcast, because there's some really cool excerpts and things that she's had to say about each of the band members. So maybe on the next Saturday Night Special. And, I talked to my friend Carolyn, and she's probably going to come on. She's the girl who accompanied me to Jacksonville when we were 18. So she'll give her views of what it was like to meet Alan and go to his house and meet Lynyrd Skynyrd and all that. So hopefully she'll be on the next one with me as well. So you got anything else, Craig?
No, that's it. That's it. That's all I got. I was totally
Okay.
unprepared for this one.
I know. We pulled it together because I
When we
knew that
start
Mikey
when I turned it on, I was shirtless, and Kathy goes, "What are you doing?" Trying to
I know. I
so I
said, go
gotta
put some
get
clothes on. You're trying to
dressed.
get subscribers or lose subscribers. I'm kidding. I hope everybody enjoyed the podcast. Love coming on here every couple of weeks. And Mikey was really excited to come back. And yeah, we're gonna keep trying to get guests. If I can get in touch with Linda Blair, we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I'm not gonna put any promises out there.
I doubt that Linda's gonna come on the Stone Roadie show,
Yeah, yeah. But
but
if I can get in touch
she's
with her, I'll
already
let
got a
everybody
bad
know.
enough reputation of
I
doing
know.
some illicits and being associated with Lynyrd Skynyrd. Yeah,
Yes, I know that.
got a bad reputation from being
Well, that's a long
associated
time ago. Come on.
with
Come on.
Lynyrd Skynyrd.
She's moved on. She's moved on to bigger and better things.
So, alrighty then. So where do we go from here?
So we say, well, so we're gonna close out this episode of podcast 137 of the Saturday night special podcast evening edition of the Stone Roadie show with the world's most famous Stone Roadie. This whole thing is getting bigger and bigger. And I
Yeah.
hope you're gonna sing. You say that's a wrap. You say, see you
Well,
later,
that's
alligator.
what I was kind of trying to avoid that, So hoping, yeah. So,
Everybody
all
knows
right.
we don't rehearse, we don't practice, we just do it. So that's what it's all about.
All right. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you and keep token until then. See you later on the next Stone Roadie show with Griff Martin and Craig Reed next Monday morning on the Morning Buzz Wake and Bake show. See you later at the gator at the Wild Crocodile.